I'm back. I decided to make a new video. I've had quite a bit of questions coming in about attacks and triggers, how to catch them and help prevent them. This is something I'm still working on, so I'm just going to give you some of the things that have been helping me, and hopefully they'll help you as well. One of the things that we had learned at the hospital was learning your early signs of triggers and trying to stop it before the full-on attack happens. Everybody's different. Some people might lose sleep too much, lose appetite, eat too much, become cranky, headaches. For me, I get really bad pains in my stomach, as well as my hands get really shaky and they lock up. So for my friends who've witnessed it firsthand, if I don't catch it beforehand, when we're coming home from a night out, I can't even put my key into the door. I've got a magic pill that slip it under your tongue. 5 minutes later, you feel fantastic. But I don't like using unless I have to. And if my attack is already full on, I can't even open the pill bottle. So for me, one of my early signs are the shakes. So I'll be sleeping in my bed and I'll wake up, my feet will be tingling and I can feel it all the way up to my legs. What I like to do is use this. This is Vicks Vapor Rub Cream, lemon scented flavor. And I put a small coat on my feet, put some socks on, back to bed, feel like $1,000,000. Again, I have pains in my stomach. I can put some on my stomach. If I'm having trouble breathing, chest, throat, migraine, headache, put a small coat on your head. If you're going to use it on your nose and you're cut from too much wiping, don't use the lemon scent, it's gonna sting. Another thing I like to use is vape steam machines, as well as the plugs. I like the plugs a little bit better than the steam because when I have attacks, it's not so much the steam, I like the cold, but the steam does kind of help with the air in the room. These are very inexpensive. They do not work for just colds and allergies. You can use this for anything. And one of the biggest things we learned was scents have a big thing with our minds. So if you're not into Vicks, you can use scented candles, you can use incense. If you're into lavender, anything like that, vanilla. But what I like to do is refill it in here, plug it in, close the bedroom door for a good 5-10 minutes, and then I'll go in and lock myself in the bedroom and just really breathe in the scents, and it really does relax and calm me. So another good purchase. And again, it's not expensive at all. I think it's like not even $10 for this, and you get like 4 of these or 5 of these, and then for a box of 6 or 8, it's like $5. So for peace of mind, love it. Another thing that I like to use because I have problems with scents, if I'm having an attack in a Subway, in a restaurant, in anywhere that's kind of like just not smelling so great, it will spark everything up and make me really sick. So what I like to use is use the nasal plugs. You're in the Subway, it smells bad. It works, I promise. I love this. Meditation is another thing that you can use, relaxation videos. But for me, I have to use certain videos. It's really hard for me to, I don't know, relax with it because of, I guess, my ADHD. So I like to use the meditation in my own way as well. One of the things about meditation is all about imagination, creating this environment of peace and serenity and just embracing in it. So for me, what I like to use is my childhood. There's a lot of memories that we have in our childhood that are just filled of great, great memories. So, one of the memories that I like to use is when I was growing up, I lived in Brampton. It was a bit more populated, more busy. My cousin lived in Orangeville. It was more farm area. So he had rocks like this, whereas, you know, it's harder to find here. I found this in Toronto the other day, and it made me so excited because you believed anything back in the days. And my cousin had told me that this was real crystals. So I became a really big rock collector and literally thought that I was going to become rich and famous. My mom would find these everywhere and throw them out, and I would just get so upset. But holding on to something so small when you're, you know, stressed out walking, concentrating on the texture, the grooves, really focusing on the colors and what it means to you, what the memories are, it takes your mind off of your attack, what's going on. When you were a kid, these things meant more to you than anything else. Your favorite rock would mean more than any kind of money, your favorite toy. So when we went to Portugal, there was this little boy who was homeless, and he was sleeping on the streets. It was one of the hottest days of the summer, and he had this sign. All he wanted was spare change and rocks. So for my cousin and I, we gave up our favorite rocks, which was very hard for us, but we were more than happy to do so. Our parents gave the change, and then when we had left him, there was this little shop where someone were painting rocks, so I'd purchased this. And then I started painting rocks for the longest time, but I can't carry this with me everywhere. It's a little bit bigger, hence why I bring this one. This I leave in my bedroom. If you have a desk at work, you can use it. When you're having an attack, again, feel the grooves. It's really 3D, not that you can really tell. And concentrate on the memories and things like that. It helps. Changing things around in your room, picture frames. Add some stickers around the borders of the frames just so that it gives that extra, I don't know, that extra oomph, I guess, that gives you that extra smile in the morning. I can't tell you how much I love that I've changed all the frames in my house and how great they are, not just because I edited all of them. Something else that I like to use is childhood. When we grew up, we spent hours and hours on things like what? Coloring. Things that were very inexpensive, right? You spent hours looking for the perfect picture, the perfect crayon, coloring in the lines, things like that help. Sudoku, crosswords, word searches, anything like that helps. Carry a book like that around. If you're in the car and having an attack, do things that you had done when you were little. What I mean is, when was the last time you really looked at the clouds and tried to make shapes? I love doing things like that. Put your hand out, feel the air, like we used to. Don't laugh. One of the things that I used to do when I was little, my favorite movie was Mary Poppins, and I had a big crush on Dick Van Dyke. So you can kind of see where this came from, but my dream was I was going to become rich and famous. I was going to go through every person's house and every business. I couldn't believe no one had thought of this. Grab a broom and go on the rooftops and just sweep all the snow off. And as my parents would be driving, I would, with my finger, just be like, jump, jump, jump. Just silly games, right? Really paying attention to what's out there instead of being so self-absorbed. Things like that do help. I do promise that. I also like to use my book. You've seen me with this many a times. Looking for the perfect pictures, the perfect edits, wordings, as well as inspirational people in your lives that you want to put in here. See, so there are my BFFs, mommy and daddy. See, and I've gotten my, let me see what else I can show you here. Some family members. My grandparents. I'm just trying to see what else I can show you. There's one more picture in here I just wouldn't mind showing you guys. My little Tristan, real life hero. Looking at people who are going through a lot harder things than you are can really, really be beneficial. This was one of my favorite ones I had recently. And there are your celebs, right? So then you have sayings that they have said or are from their songs or movies, things like that. I've also made books. I have no pictures of the finished product, but I do have other videos of me physically making them. Being creative is one of the best things that I love to do when having an attack. Making those photo boards, it truly helps. Anything that takes our mind off things. I can't tell you how much our mind has over us, how much control and how much power. So what we have to do is find what works for us and keep doing it. Another thing I would like to share with you, my final thing, is this book. Lewis Mackenzie is one of the most inspirational people I have. He also has the documentary. I promise it's not like one of those boring documentaries. It's a really, really good movie. Please watch it. It's all about nobody else wanting to go into this war to help out. Canada does. And they supply food, they supply medicine, things like that. And as they're there, they witness this war like they've never seen before. People shooting their own people. I love kids. I was an early childhood educator for a while, and story just really, really got to me. But one of the soldiers had, he was held up at one of the buildings watching, and there was this mother with her boy. They were going grocery shopping, and as they were walking, the soldier put his head down and hears gunshot. Here's another one. He looks up, and the first gunshot was to the little boy carrying those groceries home. The second gunshot, the mother had heard and ran back to her kid. Second gunshot was for the mother. The mother was also pregnant with her other child. They shot her right in the stomach. It was one of the most brutal killings. And for what? What did they do? The Canadian soldier could not believe it. He just got out and kept walking and walking, didn't care what the hell happened to him. And I am so shocked he didn't end up getting killed himself. Just couldn't believe it. And then after that, it got to the point where it was like they didn't even believe that Canada was helping them. It was, no, they're going to pull a fast one on us. They're giving help to the other side. And the other side had thought, no, they're giving help to the other side. So then they kidnap our guys, hold them at gunpoint, and they almost die if it wasn't for Lewis Mackenzie. Just looking in their eyes in this movie and listening to their stories, it really puts things in perspective. Huge recommendation. Read it, watch it, it will help. All these things are just little things that help with attacks and triggers. They're not going to work 100% of the time. For example, I went to my doctor's appointment yesterday, and the doctor had said, what are you doing for your hands when this happens? And I had mentioned, if there's someone around, I'll get them to massage my hands with the Vicks cream, and it does help. And the doctor had kind of laughed and said, well, that's only a short-term solution. That's not going to help. And I'd said to him, well, until you give me my long-term solution, this is all I got to go on for now. And he kind of laughed and he said, okay, yeah, I know what you mean. And I promise I'll get the next appointment quicker. But, it's working for now. See what works for you. What mattered to you back in the day? Music, movies. A lot of people will say, you know, Melissa, I've tried music and movies and it doesn't work. One of the things I say to them is, what are you listening to? Are you listening to what's on the radio right now? What's overplayed? Are you watching a movie that, you know, you've seen a million times? That's, you know, kind of recent. What I like to do is I have a playlist of my go-to music of happy times. It's basically called my 90s mix, and it has Sean Desmond, The Moffats, No Authority, Take Five, Spice Girls, Britney, New Kids on the Block, anything you can think of like that. And this is all music that you don't hear every day, and it was a happier time, for me at least. The concerts, the music, I don't know, just as much as things have changed. So if I lock myself in a room listening to that kind of playlist, it helps. If I'm going to watch a movie, I'm going to pick a movie maybe I haven't watched as recently, but something that is still my go-to, something that I still know backwards and forwards. For example, Babes in Toyland with Drew Barrymore and Keanu Reeves, one of my favorite movies. I'll end up putting that on. Or put on an episode of something that you haven't seen in a while. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Inspector Gadget, My Pet Monster, anything. Things like that, it will help a lot more than something that, you know, you're watching more recently right now. That's all I got for now, so I hope that helps. If you have any more questions, please feel free to ask.